Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget, you can check out the home team broadcast of Ole Miss football, David Kellum and the crew, on SiriusXM, channel 191, or on the SXM app, searching Ole Miss Rebels. The Locked On Ole Miss podcast is there as well. I'm here with Bill Flowers, and we are going to talk about the offense again. And I guarantee you, without even starting this conversation, no talking off air, anything, Bill and I are going to disagree about the offensive performance this Saturday. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. It seems like y'all have some nice weather in Alabama.
We do. It's starting to be fall, and it's a break from this scorching heat.
Yes, seriously. Now, Bill, we talked about what you wanted to see last week, and you wanted to see 15 routes to the tight end, seam passes, pop passes, things like that. And honestly, we did not see that. But what we did see, in my opinion, is a concerted effort for the quick game. You saw hitches being thrown. You saw a pop pass that Michael Trigg dropped in the end zone. You saw Jordan Watkins filling that role with little slot hitches and things like that. I think they tried to do that and get us to where it needs to be. And the offense, as a result of that, completely opened up in the second half.
Well, I guess Kiffin and Weiss listened to us.
Yeah.
They're sick and tired of hearing me bemoan the lack of middle of the field and just use your brain and hit the middle of the field. The Watkins play was like, okay, so you're telling me that's that hard to take a slot receiver? You spread out the defense. You go vertical and laterally, and then all of a sudden you break back in, and there's nobody in the middle of the field, and it's a straight shot to the quarterback. Is that hard? And look, remember what I told you? I said if you had 15 verticals from the tight end or from a slot receiver, you will have majority of them are going to be completed, and most of them will be first downs. And that's exactly what. And now tell me,
Bill,
did we ever go back to that?
Bill, your internet connection is you're kind of freezing up.
Okay, let me. I'll move to another location.
Yeah, just maybe the Wi-Fi is just a little bit weak where you are.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
but that's the
gist of it.
Just being able to get the like we didn't run that play but once with Watkins, and I don't think that's something that was the first time we've run that play the entire year. And I don't think that's something that you're trying to hold to your vest and bring it out for the SEC play. I mean, that's a very elementary play. Like everybody has that. We just have never run it. And so the fact that they finally ran it and it was a very easy completion and it opened up things, it opens up the lanes for the quarterback to run. I mean, it's just like, that's the things that just bother me. It's like, why don't you take what the defense gives you? And it's taken us, like, they didn't do it last year. So, as people say that I'm not being negative or whatever. No, I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic. Like, this is not some, complex play, or this is a pitch and catch thing that opens up the lane, the run lanes. If you've got a receiver, if you've got your tight end or your slot receivers catching the ball vertically, that's going to force your linebackers to spread wide to try to take that away. If they try to take that away, then you run where there's a void. They can't blitz like that, because if you blitz like that, you take your quick vertical and you throw behind the linebacker, and now they're stuck. So that's why I've said they have all the tools to be as good as they want to be. they have all the tools to be able to control the ball. They will. Ole Miss's defense is not good enough, and I think Lane knows this. They are not good enough to play in the SEC and to go tit for tat. You're going to have to control this ball. You're going to have to use your run game and your passing game and control the clock. If they can't do that, they're going to they will lose. And so I think that by opening up that offense, opening up the middle of the field, using Dart as that running back, controlling it, making sure that we don't score fast. Yeah, scoring fast is just going to put your defense in a hard position, and it's not going to be good for you in the long run.
You know, the interesting thing is we've kind of gone we talked about the offense pretty consistently for the last few weeks, but at the end of the day, we're saying the same thing. This offense is better when linebackers are basically being tortured and they can't be right. You're talking about using tight ends and the slot receivers to do that. I'm talking about jet sweeps and things like that. But at the end of the day, it is causing indecision in that linebackers that's the important part in this offense.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to help Juckins. It's going to help. I mean, like I said last week, I said if they don't get Dart running the ball, it's not going to work. They have to just throw caution to the wind, and that's what they're going to have to do. And you know, that being able to use Dart as a running back just really hurts the defense because he gets the ball and it's quick. There's no delay. He's a running back. I mean, that's what he is. He's a running back that can throw the ball. I mean, he's like a fullback, and he's a great athlete. He got ability. Only thing I think that they're he's still young, but he's got to pre-snap better. And if he can make some adjustments to really pre-snap reading, I think he is going to be as good as the ceiling is super high with him.
You know, I saw the Georgia Tech game and I had a thought pop into my head. And Jackson Dart, I mean, he's a quarterback and he can throw the ball really well. And he's not the runner that he is, but I see in the physicality, there's a little bit of Tim Tebow to his game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say from a quarterback position, to me, he's a better passer than Matt Corral. He is, to me, he's the best natural passer in the college football. I truly think that. I think he has, out of all the quarterbacks in college football, his ability to just that ball pops out of his hand. He hits the deep ball really well, just from a natural arm talent. So, not to disrespect Tebow, but I mean, there's no comparison in that. From a running standpoint, absolutely. I mean, he's that's where he is, and so I think Tebow is more of a real pounder. Dart's got more wiggle room. Got more wiggle. I mean, so he really is a great quarterback. And I think that comparison of a running quarterback like Tebow is there. I just wish he would just have a better pre-snap read and be able to hit things quicker.
Yeah, and like I said, with the situation, we've been calling for the tight end and all that, and we've been judging off of the potential and talent that we've been told that Michael Trigg has. The reaction of Lane Kiffin after Michael Trigg dropped that touchdown pass, that kind of said a whole bunch.
Yeah, and I will say this. Trigg should have caught the ball 100%. But I'm going to tell you, that was a late read by Dart. You're going to say, what are you talking about? That was the number one read. When you're in that position, you've got to get the ball out of your hands quicker. And that's part of what I'm saying. He put the ball in a kind of a hard position for Trigg to make the catch. He should have caught it 100%. but it needs, like, that Trigg was your number one read. It was wide open, and there should have been no reason that ball was any slightly behind. And
Now,
I think with Trigg, he has not produced like people people wanted him to. He's not in there as a run blocker. He's not doing what I think what he's asked. He truly is that tweener. Rufus French was a guy before his time, and that was a guy that was just a receiver. And I know Coach Middleton, who is who's a great tight end coach, told Rufus if he stayed one more year, he could help him, go further in the draft and really help him be a better run blocker and create more value for himself. And it sounds like that's just the issue with Triggs. Is like he's just not wanting to be a blocker. He's kind of wanting to be a prima donna. I don't know, but he's definitely not bringing the value that we would like to see, and obviously what Kiffin was hoping he was getting in that transfer.
What I think is going to happen, and I've been calling for this all off season, and that is when Priestcorn comes back and you have Priestcorn and Kyron Heath, who is going to be your number one and number two inline tight ends. Maybe Michael Trigg moves out and plays a little bit of slot receiver. If we don't have Zachary Franklin, that moves Jordan Watkins out into that position. You have Trey Harris potentially back. Maybe this game you start to see that a little bit, because I do think Michael Trigg is more suited for, honestly, the role that Jordan Watkins plays. As weird as that sounds.
Well, again, you got this tweener, the guy that I would not put Triggs in over Watkins. And I know that's not what you're saying, but one, does Triggs have the hands to be utilized like that? To his defense, he hasn't had a lot. He had a lot of balls thrown his way. And the question is, with Watkins, this guy has been productive. He's fast. He's quick. He's great in and out of his breaks. And so you look at somebody like Triggs, you go, is he fast enough? Is he he's a guy that's a red zone guy that can get him, utilize him in that space. So he needs, to me, is he going to be physical? Is he going, use him in the red zone, get him out. Harris is a big dude. You got, number one, he's a big dude. Utilize him where he can. Obviously, if you've got him in a tight end position, in the line, and that's not going to be a run because the guy's not going to block, that obviously hurts your game planning. So the question is, when Priestcorn comes back, do we ever see Triggs on the field again? I think that will be the thing, unless you see him in spread him out wide, or put him in a slot position in the red zone to utilize his size. But I would not, put him over any of our slot receivers who are productive, fast, get in and out of breaks, who are productive, who have good hands. Triggs just hadn't shown me that he's that good of a pass catcher, in and out of his breaks to be utilized like that.
Yeah, and I think real quick, I'm going to change topics for a second. On the touchdown pass to Jordan Watkins, people don't realize how good of a pass that was from Jackson Dart, because they were going against man free. There was a guy in the middle of the field, and Jackson Dart absolutely threw him open. The ball was caught almost at the numbers, and that was a post route. And he completely threw him open. And I think that was one of the better throws of the season.
like I've said, Dart has really improved from last year in his accuracy, in his deep ball, and that again, that's what makes me scratch my head about utilizing Dart's accuracy. Use the middle of the field. You start throwing in the middle of the field in that second window. That is going to create problems for those safeties. Those safeties are going to have to come down. And if you've got a guy that has a high percentage on his deep balls, and they're fine utilizing the middle and forcing one of those safeties to come down, that is going to wreak havoc on those defenses, especially the linebackers, bringing them out wide. You know, you're going to have to kind of keep wide. You're going to have huge windows. They're going to have to keep I think that's one of the things I want to see is that when these receivers break in, are they recognizing that it's zone and you look for the window? And Dart's got to hit that window quick. If it's man, those receivers are going to run across and let Dart, lead them. And he's got the accuracy for the middle field. He just don't throw it. And last year, I think there was a lot of concern that he just wouldn't be able to hit the middle of the field because of reading the defenses and all that kind of stuff. He's evolved. He's gotten more mature in that. They've spread them out so wide now that there's no reason to worry about 2 or 3 linebackers in the middle of the field and getting picked off. So I'm hoping that they just throw it. They throw everything out the window this week against Alabama and say, we are going to attack the middle of the field. We are going to use everything we can and utilize Dart the way that he should be.
Yeah, this is probably Jackson Dart's biggest start in his Ole Miss career. I know he went to Tiger Stadium. I know Ole Miss was undefeated last year. That doesn't mean what this means. This is going to be a big environment. In my opinion, this is a corner game for the program. If Ole Miss goes over there and can get a victory, it's kind of the program turning a corner and moving into the upper echelon of the SEC, at least this year. And
and I think that what's really important, and again, I've harped on this and harped on it and harped on it, is that Ole Miss, our offense, is going to have to control the ball. Dart is going to have to show everyone that he is a top caliber quarterback by quick pre-snap reads when we have to throw these short stuff, because that's going to be our quick little short runs. We're going to have to run the ball, both Bentley, Juckins, and Dart. But the key to winning this game is going to be, just because we've got a Ferrari and we can run, score at will, if they can, doesn't mean you should. If you can confidently say, I'm going to ground it and pound it on you by running Dart, Juckins, quick hitches, quick slants. I was thinking about this. One of the year that Marvin Harrison had, I think he broke the receiving record of catches in a year when he was with Colts with Manning. I think he had some ridiculous amount of catches, but I think 90 of those catches was a hitch drive. And what that means is it's a hitch and you run toward the linebackers. So what happens is if your corner's on, even press or just above, you just come in. And the point I'm saying about it is that that's such a high percentage throw. It's like a slant, it's like a hitch. But if you throw those balls, that is like a 5, 6, 7, 8-yard run. So if you can control the short game and control the clock, our defense is not going to be able to play in the SEC. They're just not. They are not a great run game. They're not controlling the trenches like we need to. I mean, and it's not a knock on our. We knew going into the season that that was going to be one of our weaker points was the defense, and so the key to the game is going to be we can control the clock, we can control how fast we need to score. If we just don't have any discipline in clock management and say, oh, look how fast we can score just to do it, then or that's the only way that we can, it's going to be, that's not going to be to our advantage.
Well, what are the over in Alabama? What are they talking about today?
Well, they're very concerned about their team. I mean, I like I mentioned last week, the transfer portal has dramatically reduced the ability to say, hey, our team is superior to yours because of our high school recruiting. Now you've got all these transfer portals that come in, and it's a quarterback driven league. And if you don't have a quarterback that can truly win a game for you, or, be a great asset for you, it's going to dramatically, diminish your chances of being a great football team. And so they know that with last week, the two other options didn't show well, which really surprised them. And now they know they're going to have to go back to Milrow, and Ole Miss is the curse. Like any quarterback that comes out kills us. That you're thinking, okay, this guy's going to get a chance. What was the quarterback at Florida? Will Greer. Remember, nobody knew about him. Nobody knew anything about him. He comes out and just absolutely kills us. Ole Miss I'm terrified that Milrose is going to have a career day against us. Is going to throw for like 400 yards and run for like 200 yards. And they're going to say, oh, we finally found our quarterback. And so they don't think that, but that's my fear. But they're highly concerned, and they're talking stupid stuff like Saban needs to start thinking about retiring. And I mean, I tell them, I don't feel bad for you guys one bit. You guys have lived so high on the mountain that you don't even know what reality is. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
They've got affluenza.
Yeah,
it's called.
Yeah, they're used to living in the Ritz-Carlton, and now they're having to stay at the Four Seasons, and they think it's trash.
I think they're the Super 8.
Yeah, I mean, they have no sense of reality, and I love it, and I think that's what Saban knows is, like, these people are idiots. They just have no sense of reality. I mean, they just they don't know about it. They forgot what the years before he got there looked like. So
with the exception of maybe 2004, you were on that team, but 2000 and 2002, Ole Miss went to Tuscaloosa with the team that they expected to beat Alabama. Ole Miss had good football teams both of those years. Ole Miss lost those games 42-7 and 45-7. What happened?
Well, I remember the year before Alabama came and we beat them, and that was the first time that Ole Miss had beaten Alabama in 10 years. 10 years. Like, that's crazy. So the following year, they had us for homecoming, which was, surprising, and they whipped us. And the following year, we beat them again. But I think that it's I don't think anything happened more than just they beat us. I mean, there was nothing. It was not like, oh, we're playing the almighty Alabama. I think they just, you have games where the team gets out and just goes, and and that's what happened.
I have a theory, and I could be wrong. And
Yeah.
I freely admit that, but I have a theory, and that is whenever you play at Bryant-Denny Stadium and you start hearing that elephant, and they bring out the flags with the 727 national champions with a 4-6 record, and all of that happens, you could start slow. Just whatever it is, the ambiance, everything, it affects teams at the beginning. It's like Matt Corral 2 years ago in the Get Your Popcorn Ready game. There was kind of a slow start for Ole Miss, and by halftime that game was over. In the second half, Ole Miss was pretty good, but in the first half, they just kind of didn't start the way they needed to.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, the momentum of a game, of starting out, getting the ball rolling. You play in the SEC, Alabama, you know, I would say has always had more talent than, you know, offer, probably than Ole Miss. And so you get to points where if you let a team get out in front of you, and you're at home and you're at their home, it's easier to lose the grip and have to clear yourself out of a hole, and that's more difficult. So I think play calling, make you get the ball going, getting a good momentum, trying to stay out of a hole, is the biggest thing about that. So going out there, and again, that's my point on, if you can go to Alabama, control the ball offensively, establish the run, establish the quick passes, establish the middle of the field, and keep our defense off the field, you know that you're in control. And whenever you're in a hostile environment and you don't feel like you're in control, that, you know, you lose an advantage. And so that's why I think it's so important that we stay away from trying to score quickly, but take the wind out of Alabama, take the fans out of Alabama, show them that we are in control, show them that we dictate what we do on offense. You don't dictate what we're going to have to do. We're going to dictate it. Whenever you can do that and punch somebody in the face and just jump on top of them and just control it and just say, nope, I'm not going to make this quick and easy. I'm going to pound you and pound you and pound you and take the will out of you, by showing you that if we want to score fast, we can, but we choose not to. We're going to do that. That's how you're really able to, you know, win in these hostile environments.
Anyway, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Bill, we fought through some connectivity issues, but thank you very much for stopping by today. And if Ole Miss can get this win, if they can pull off this victory at Alabama, next week when I talk to you, it's going to be fun with LSU coming to town.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think Alabama is right where Ole Miss wants them. I think we're offensively, they're starting to make the right changes and doing the right things. And so I think there's a great opportunity for Ole Miss to knock off Alabama, and they do that, then I think you've got a good future in front of us.
Outstanding. Anyway, Bill Flowers, thank you very much, buddy.
All right, buddy. Hi, Toddy.
Hotty toddy.